Welcome. You are now entering the podcast studio of The Darkest Corners After the Postmortem. Episode: The Infamous Female Bank Robber, Machine Gun Molly. Welcome to The Darkest Corners After the Postmortem, the podcast that dives into the lives of some of the most fascinating, dangerous, and misunderstood outlaws in history. I'm your host, Sandra Pink, and today we're exploring the life of Monica Poetti, better known as Machine Gun Molly, one of Canada's most infamous female bank robbers. She was fierce, fearless, and fatalistic. A woman who grew up in Montreal's tough neighborhoods and became a folk hero in the criminal underworld. Her story is one of rebellion, survival, and ultimate tragedy. Monica Poetti was born on February 25, 1940, in Montreal, Canada, into a world of poverty and crime. She grew up in the working-class neighborhood of Hochelaga Maisonneuve, an area that was already steeped in hardship. Monica's family was large, and crime seemed to be a way of life. Her relatives were involved in petty theft, forgery, and other shenanigans to make ends meet. By the time Monica was a teenager, she was already introduced in this lifestyle. Her upbringing shaped her perspective: trust no one and take what you need to survive. But Monica didn't just follow the family's criminal ways, she elevated them. By her 20s, Monica was married to Anthony Smith, a petty criminal, but marriage didn't slow her down. In fact, Monica was just getting started. She soon became known for her daring and elaborate hits, particularly her series of bank robberies across Montreal in the 60s. Her nickname, Machine Gun Molly, came from her reputation for waving a machine gun during these hits, a sight that must have shocked the bank clerks and police alike. But her weapon of choice wasn't just for show. She used it to generate her dominance in a world that rarely took women seriously, especially not in the criminal underworld. While her actions were undoubtedly illegal, many in her community saw Monica as a sort of modern-day Robin Hood. She didn't rob banks out of greed. She used the money to support her family and provide for her 3 children. Her ability to outwit police and execute her crimes with precision made her a legend. But this life came at a cost. Monica was constantly on the run, and the pressure of living outside the law took its toll. Despite her sharp instincts and skills, the odds were stacked against her. Society wasn't going to let her live this life forever. On September 19, 1967, Monica attempted one final hit. She and her gang targeted a bank in Montreal, but this time the police were ready for them. The robbery quickly turned into a high-speed chase throughout the city streets. Tragically, Monica's life came to a violent end. During the escape, she crashed into the rear of a city bus and she was shot and killed by police at just 27 years old. Her death marked the end of an era for Montreal's criminal underground and cemented her legacy as a legendary outlaw. Her 3 children and grandchildren still pay for their name they carry to this day. Monica Poetti's life was short but unforgettable. She lived on her own terms, defying social norms and carving out a place for herself in a world that offered her few opportunities. But her story also raises important questions. Was she a product of her environment, or could she have chosen a different path? Today we look back at Machine Gun Molly's crimes with horror, but we also have to ask ourselves what conditions allowed this to happen, and could it ever happen again? Machine Gun Molly remains a symbol of rebellion and resilience, a woman who dared to challenge the rules even when it cost her everything. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the infamous female bank robber Machine Gun Molly. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and join me next time as we explore the lives of more extraordinary outlaws here at the podcast studio of The Darkest Corners After the Postmortem. Until next time, remember, the darkest stories are often hidden just beneath the surface.